Good afternoon, everyone. We're here with Ralph Gammon, who is a senior software analyst with Infosource. I'm Bryant Duhon, editor of Document Image and Report, published by Infosource. And it's a little bit of a professional 360 here, or 180 rather, to be interviewing Ralph as the editor of Infosource back before my days as editor at AIM. So, Ralph, thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to spotlight the what he's going to be speaking about at the conference, the Capture Conference 2022 in Chicago on September 7th and 8th. Just give everybody a little sneak peek and a little preview of what's coming your way for those of you who register and attend. So, Ralph, thanks for joining us.
September out in Chicago.
All right. Well, let's dive right into the first question about your presentation is focused on the future of Capture. And while I know your presentation is focused on the future, let's set aside the obvious pandemic and the ensuing cloud capture feeding frenzy and work from home trend. But in your opinion, what has been the biggest change in the capture industry over the last 5 years?
It's really just the increased number of players. We've basically seen a five-fold increase in the number of competitors in the capture market. There's been seemed like about that time, someone discovered that they could take all this AI and machine learning technology and set up capture applications kind of through a learn by example approach. And on top of this, you had major platform players like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, all throwing their hats into the ring with some capture tools based on their computer vision technology. So you kind of take this combination of stuff, and suddenly it seems like we have five times as many vendors competing in the capture market as there were previously. The barrier to entry has really been lowered, and it's really made for quite a new and exciting dynamic market. We're seeing a lot of VC money thrown in that we've never seen before. So it's really kind of an exciting space to be in, more so than it was 5 years ago.
Also makes it a lot of fun to track, right?
Oh, yes. It's quite a challenge for us, but at least we know it's a healthy growing market.
That's right. Never bored.
Investment in it.
Never bored these days. So you just wrote a piece for DIR about the difference between capture and IDP vendors. Can you explain a little bit about what you meant there?
Yeah, and so what we're seeing is, a lot of these new vendors, a lot of these startups coming out of the market don't refer to their technology as capture at all. They call it intelligent document processing, or IDP. There are a number of reasons for this. At the most rudimentary level, it's really there's a learn by example approach that enables you to take standard document processing, say key entry or something, learn from it, and then automate the process. Hence, you add intelligent to it, and you have something called intelligent document processing. And this IDP market kind of came up in parallel to the RPA, robotic process automation market, which is also very similar. It's a kind of a learn by example approach to eliminate keystrokes. At the end of the day, capture is really about eliminating keystrokes as well. It's just that the historical market leaders in capture kind of took a different approach to it at first, utilizing OCR templates, rules, regular expressions, and such. And they all still utilize this, and a lot of them have automated a lot of high volume type of applications in this area. But these guys aren't dummies either. They've seen all these new AI and machine learning driven ISVs come into their market. And really change the way things have done. So they started implementing it in their applications as well. So really what we see over the next year is really Capture and IDP coming together and really becoming, if they aren't already are, the same thing.
Right. I was about to ask you exactly that. You see these streams merging and not carrying on as separate streams.
No, and I really think IDP was always kind of a subset of capture, but maybe the capture vendors, have more of a historical focus on areas like records management and information governance, kind of the stuff that AIM covers. That these IDP vendors have not necessarily, they've been more interested in capture to process. But we've also seen in the capture market a bigger focus on capture to process. So really, even if these two markets were separate, they're now converging for sure.
Okay. So Yeah, you've been in the industry nearly your entire career. What have just personally, like, what have you found to be the most interesting and or entertaining thing about covering this market, both as a journalist or now as an analyst?
As I often tell people, when I first started in the late '90s, capture was very much a fringe technology. I had no idea it even existed, and started talking to people about it. It was like, heck, well, wait, you can take paper and scan it and digitize it and then make this information, usable by computers, kind of in a, and this all can be done, within a few minutes. And yeah, I mean, that was what it was designed to do. Of course, at that time there was a lot of, the barrier entry to much higher. It was expensive. It was kind of hard to configure, and but really through the years, it's the technology's gotten much easier to use. It's kind of moved out of the back room. We've seen it move into the front office, and that's all been exciting. But then, kind of all the people, a lot of the people that I've known 25 years ago are still in this industry and have kind of taken this journey with me and kind of watch the technology mature and develop and gain more widespread adoption. And it's just really been exciting, being part of this industry that's not only survived this long, but has been growing really for 25 years and continues to move forward and make advances. And right now, I would say it's AI. We've talked about AI for a long time, and there's still a lot of talk about AI, but really capture is one of the areas where the rubber is hitting the road, and AI is actually being implemented
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
in real world situations. Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the past. I know your presentation is going to be focused on the future. Now, obviously, I know the research isn't totally finished yet. You're in the process of doing it. But what is research through 22? I'm sorry. What has your research through 2022 so far shown you about what sort of is shaping up for 2020, second half of 2022 and into 2023?
Obviously, anyone who watches the global news, there's a lot out there about inflation, labor shortages, supply chain hangups, all sorts of stuff. Could possibly lead to recession. Kind of one of the trends we are seeing though is that, these factors. They also lead to the desire to increase automation. I mean, you're trying to reduce expenses, do more with fewer people, and speed things up from a supply chain standpoint, really automate more. So, even though there are going to be some macroeconomic factors, I mean, obviously Eastern Europe, which is kind of an emerging market for us, I mean, that seems to that's going to go through a rough period, so they're going to affect growth rates. But really, overall, the market seems like it's going to be resilient through this potential economic downturn in the worldwide economy.
It's kind of just struck me as you were talking. Even though even the scanner manufacturers don't really talk about speeds and feeds anymore. It really is that speeds and feeds and making things faster, quicker, and so that you can automate it, so that you can do more with less. It's the same 25-year-old business case we've been talking about for decades. Yeah.
It is, and I mean, yeah. The fact is, I mean, if there's someone who personally hates paperwork, to me, like that was one of the first things that attracted me to this industry. You mean I could automate these mundane, repetitive paperwork? So yes, let's please sign me up for that.
Absolutely. Last question, and let's just lead with just a general question about the conference. Why should someone come, and what can they expect from Capture Conference 2022?
Well, I talked about, really myself. I've had the opportunity to attend all I think it's been 16 of these. Harvey Spencer founded it, and he invited me to speak and moderate a panel at the first one. And as the editor of DIR, I came back every year and would do predictions and that type of stuff. And now I've graduated to be an Infosource analyst. But really, to me, networking opportunities have always been invaluable. It's really, you have a day and a half, and it's really kind of I don't want to say it's a space, but you're connected with about usually in full years, past pre-pandemic, probably 80 to 100 top executives in the industry. And while there's presentations, there's always time for offline conversations. And I can't even tell you the number of deals that I understand have been struck at this conference in terms of partnerships and that type of stuff. So from a networking standpoint, it's really the event is second to none. And then also, in terms of the presentations, it's always been our goal to kind of challenge the challenge the attendees. Maybe not. We're not going to talk about basic OCR and accuracy rates. We're going to talk about blockchain. We're going to talk about the metaverse. We're going to talk about stuff that it's really going to push you to think 5 to 10 years out. Really help you plan your business ahead. So it's really an exciting event to me from those two standpoints. Really the chance to catch up with everyone, share some ideas in person, and really learn about, okay, what are going to be some future factors that are going to shape the market.
Fantastic, Ralph. I appreciate it, and like you, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at the Capture conference. I mean, we speak a couple of times a week, at least once a week, like this, and it'll be good to see you in person as well.
Yes, nice to hoist a beer too, and